Good morning, boys and girls. Happy holiday weekend. Okay, we have a holiday coming up on Monday. And on Monday, the holiday is called Memorial Day. And I wanted to ask you all, who knows what we celebrate on Memorial Day? Now, Memorial Day is celebrated in the United States on the last Monday in the month of May. Does anyone know what we celebrate? I think somebody does. But before we come back and share what Memorial Day is, we're gonna read a story about Memorial Day. And then we can go over some things that we learned so everybody knows why we celebrate Memorial Day. Okay, here we go, friends. Oh, hold on one second. Here we go. Share screen. Okay. Memorial Day surprise.
Memorial Day Surprise by Teresa Martin Golding. Is it a really big surprise, Mama? Asked Marco. Oh, yes, said Mama. It is a very big surprise, but we must hurry. The parade will start soon. Marco held Mama's hand tightly and walked faster. Many people were leaving the porches of their brick row houses. Children skipped down the steps of the big apartment building. Abuelo, Marco's grandfather, lived there on the 5th floor, but Mama said there was no time to stop. What could the surprise be that made Mama rush so? They always stopped to visit Abuelo. Marco watched the flags dance in the breeze. What is Memory Day, Mama? He asked. Mama smiled. It is called Memorial Day, she said. But Memory Day is a good name, too. It is a time to remember some special people. Who, Mama? You will see, she said. Beep, beep. 2 girls swooped past Marco. Red and blue streamers fluttered from their bicycles and swished in the wind. Everyone was in a hurry to get to the parade. When they reached the avenue, Marco's eyes opened wide. All the stores where Mama liked to shop were closed. The sidewalks were crowded with people sitting on folding chairs or colorful blankets. 2 boys were even sitting on top of the big blue mailbox. Marco heard someone calling his name. Look, Mama, he pointed across the wide avenue. Jenna is here too. Is this a surprise? No, Marco, Mama answered. The surprise is even more special than seeing your best friend at the parade. Marco sat on the curb with Jenna. The sun was hot on top of his head. The big avenue seemed different without its zooming cars and rumbling trucks. It was like a rushing river that had run out of water. Marco jumped up. Did you hear that? He asked. The faint brrrr, bump, bump of a drum sounded in the distance. Marco held his breath as the band marched closer and stopped right in front of him. The leader slowly raised his baton and the music burst into the air. Horns and drums and the clash of the cymbals. Marco stood very still. The music was inside him, alive and jumping in his chest. Boom, boom. He felt a thunder in his stomach. Crash, crash. It tingled down his arms. Batons flew in the air. Pom-poms swooshed. Feet stamped in rhythm and the band moved on. Marco wished Abuelo could have heard the music. Maybe it would have made his legs tingle again. Was that the surprise, Mama? Marco shouted. Was it? Was it? No, Marco, said Mama. The surprise is even more special than the marching band. A siren screamed and Marco jumped. A long red fire engine rolled down the avenue, its lights spinning and flashing. A firefighter walked beside the big engine. He stopped and shook Marco's hand. He gave Marco a little flag. Marco waved the flag at the noisy fire truck. Was that the surprise, Mama? Mama shook her head. No, Marco, the surprise is even more special than meeting a real firefighter. Look, Jenna shouted. A truck was pulling a big float right down the street. It was the Statue of Liberty. A man with a dark beard stood in front of the statue. With his tall hat and long face, he looked just like Abraham Lincoln. Jenna frowned. They are throwing things at people, she said. That is not nice. It's candy, screamed Marco. Marco and Jenna dropped to the ground and scooped up all the candy that fell at their feet. Mama, look! Marco opened his fist and showed her all the sweets he had collected. That was the surprise, wasn't it? No, Marco, Mama said. The surprise is even more special than catching candy at the parade. Marco put a butterscotch into his pocket. He would give it to Abuelo when he told him all about this parade. What was happening? All the people stood up and began clapping. Marco could not see. There were no sirens, no band, no falling candy. Still, the clapping became louder. Men and women in uniforms with shiny medals came marching down the avenue. Right up in the very front was Marco's grandfather. Abuelo, Marco shouted and waved his hands. Why is your grandfather in the parade? Jenna asked. Marco stood tall. My grandfather is a hero. Abuelo put out his arms and Marco ran and climbed into his lap. Happy Memorial Day, Marco, Abuelo said. Marco threw his arms around Abuelo's neck. Happy Memorial Day, Abuelo. He took the butterscotch out of his pocket and pressed it into Grandfather's warm hand. Marco did not need to ask Mama. He knew this was the best Memory Day surprise of all. The end. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thanks for reading with us.
So I hope that you liked the Memorial Day special surprise story. And I'm still waiting to see if we know why we celebrate and what we celebrate on Memorial Day.
Lit Mobile popped over this wireless battery bank for an unboxing. Let's check this thing out and see what we got inside. This thing is...
What do we celebrate? Well, in case you were thinking of this, and if I am saying the same thing you were thinking in your head, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. We celebrate all of the brave men and women who have went to war or have fought for our freedoms and our rights on Memorial Day. So that's what we celebrate. So we also have a lot of cookouts, or sometimes there's parades, probably not this year, but let's remember all of the men and women who are so brave and who help give us so many rights. So I hope that you enjoyed that story. I hope that you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye.